This weekend, a legitimate world title fight when the newly crowned WBO super welterweight champion of the world, Tszyu, defends this belt against the big punching American Brian Mendoza. And for the first time here in Fight Week, they come together. Tim, we set the tone a little bit here for how things are going to be in Fight Week and in this fight. What mood do we have around this fight?
For me personally, I don't feel lovey-dovey in the zone. Week out, I'm ready to go.
Brian, good to have you here in Australia. Everyone's been very kind to you. I know you've enjoyed your time here, but it must have a different mood, a different feeling now.
No, absolutely. Like I keep repeating, throughout the build-up, it's almost time to flip that switch. Little by little, that the mood starts changing. I start kind of shelling up into my own little. I like to be very private and everything, and no, it's just getting closer and closer to flipping that switch.
What happens when you flip that switch? Because I think we've seen it in recent times.
I mean, I think you guys see it. You see how I perform in the ring, how I act, how I carry myself. It's just that supreme confidence, that relaxed. I'm in my zone, I'm in my moment, and just kill or be killed.
Tim, let's go back to March of last year in the United States. You made your American debut, the headline act against Tszyu. Do you remember Brian being around Fight Week then? Because he fought after you in a swing bout.
You know what? When I fight, there's nothing else that matters. I'm not thinking about anyone else, so no, I don't remember.
Had you ever heard of Brian Mendoza at that point?
No, I haven't.
Did you know much about Tim? And I think you watched his fight, didn't you, through the dressing room door?
I had to. Like when he got knocked down in that first round, I had to start warming up. So I had to watch it. That's what being the swing bout is, being on standby. And I was just, waiting for my moment, seeing if it was going to end early or go the distance. And I start, warming up and everything, get going. But of course, I watched it, and obviously, off the name and everything, I keep my eyes open. I'm a big student of the game. So of course, I've always been aware and everything, and just, thought this was a possibility down the line.
So you did think it was a possibility that he'd be an opponent one day?
Always. One thing I'm very proud of the division I'm in, that everybody fights everybody. And, obviously he's had his issues with Charlo, but the belts are always, like hot potato, just bouncing back and forth. So I love that about this division, and it creates for all the more glory. You'd
never heard of Brian Mendoza at that point. When did you first think of him as someone who would maybe be in the opposite corner?
Well, after the Rosario win, that was straight away on my radar. When he fireworks like that. And then straight after the Fundora, it was, I guess I could say, inevitable.
Was it a surprise to you, because the boxing world was pretty shocked with what he did in those two fights? Were you?
No. I see what he possesses, and he's got the tools. I don't know why they're talking that he's a big outsider in those fights. His talent speaks for themselves, and what he did to Fundora was a textbook punch. You learn that back in the amateurs in the basics from a southpaw, just a textbook punch, and that's all that's needed.
You say you can't understand why he was such a big underdog in those fights. Can you understand why he's a big underdog in this fight?
Is he? Oh, right. Well, look, I don't care about odds and the underdog type of stuff. I know what I possess, and that's all that matters for me.
Who's the bigger puncher in this fight?
I believe I am. It's just, just off the fact that, I have more explosive one-punch knockouts. I've done it just, single shots, and I feel like his fights are more often, he's a big puncher, but it's more combinations, and he definitely breaks you down and everything, but I feel like his biggest highlights are off combinations.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, fair enough.
So he's the bigger puncher?
Well, look, big punching doesn't win fights, so I'm not here to argue and debate over who's a bigger puncher and prove it with different analysis and evidence. If he thinks he's the bigger puncher, so be it. Simple.
Do you think that he's the sort of puncher who goes into a fight needing to land that shot? Do you think that's the only way he can win these fights?
No, he's proven himself that he's able to box him. He's able to do damage as well. But it's of course very handy when you got that one-punch switch off, and he's got it, and he uses it very well, and he's used it very well in his last two fights.
Does what you saw when Tim fought against Terrell Gausha in that opening round, does that give you extra hope that you can do what you've been doing and to knock him out?
The other performances, I don't honestly worry too much about them. You know, I've seen strengths, I've seen weaknesses, I've seen him make some improvements, you know, along the way. But I just believe, you know, like I keep saying, me personally, what I bring to the table is something he hasn't seen before, and I feel like that's what's going to make the difference. I'm not worried about, you know, they keep asking me, oh, what do you think about Harrison, if it was him being past his prime or if Tim was actually able to just neutralize him that well. Those are questions that I expect to answer in the ring, you know, instead of just looking at the other performances.
But do you think, from what you've seen, that he's there to be hit?
Definitely. And I also think that, you know, just like he said, you know, I may be a big puncher, but I'm not looking for one shot. I set these things up, and that's what does it. You know, even if he wasn't there to be hit, I create these openings.
What do you think about that school of thought that you are there to be hit, that you do take shots?
Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Depends what mood I'm in, you know? It really depends. But I feel like my defense is underestimated. People, yeah, just, I guess the way, when you get in the ring, it's a bit different. And when you throw the first punch and it doesn't land, you sort of start thinking different things.
Have you watched the Fundora fight in full, Brian's fight?
To a certain extent, yeah.
What did you think of the first 6 rounds?
I think he's a warrior. Look, Fundora's a tough opponent. To have a giant like that, with a reach like that, it's always a tough fight. At the end of the day, he did what he had to do, and that's all that matters. On the history books, he's got a KO over Fundora, and that's forever cemented there.
He was, well, for you at least, and for plenty, a nobody in global boxing before those last 2 performances and the fight, the swing bout.
No one's a nobody in boxing, first of all. We put our life on the lines, and we do so much. So that's, first of all, no one's a nobody.
You didn't know who he was, but he got on your radar with those performances. Do you think that he's a better fighter now, or did he just have a couple of moments?
No, I think there's growth, of course. There's growth, but he's done what he's had to do, I guess, and yeah, let's see, what am I going to say? I don't want to say too much good things about him. I'm not really keen to say too many good things about you anyway.
You don't have to. You can say whatever you like.
I don't want to say too many bad things either, you know?
Why not?
Huh?
Why not?
I'm not a disrespectful guy, you know? I'm not a disrespectful guy. I'm in the zone, I'm ready to hurt, and that's it. It's simple. You know, I just want to get it on. I'm sick of talking about it. I just want to literally just get in there and start smacking each other out.
Is that how you feel?
Absolutely. I was about to say, like, I hate to say it, I agree, but I know you're trying to pull these questions out, you know, to get us going, but I think there's an understanding here that I'm going to be in there to take his head off, and the same thing that he's going to be looking for. Neither of us play games, and that's why we don't talk outside of much. You know, I'm not a big trash talker. One thing I take pride in, especially in these last few performances, is that my performances do the talking for me. And October 15th here in Australia will be no different.
Tim, you've got this time around.
Yeah.
You're a legitimate world champion. Does that bring a different feeling to this fight?
Nothing. I'm always in my heart, I'm going to feel like a hunter, no matter what. The mentality that I've, even in this camp, has always been, live in the present moment and be the hunter. This means nothing. It's this guy that I want, not that.
Why this guy?
Legacy, man, legacy. It's all about creating that resume, creating the big fights. Me and him right now are the top dogs in the division. The other bloke, we all know what happened, but it's me and him. So this is for the #1 spot, I believe. Well, it is for the #1 spot. You know, even if there's only one belt on the line, it should be all 4 belts on the line.
Do you feel like a world champion going into this fight, or do you feel like this is for the world title?
I felt like a world champion a long time ago. Mentally, I felt a long time ago. Simple.
What about you, Brian? Because from where you were to potentially winning this, that's quite a journey. Mm-hmm. How would that feel?
It'd feel incredible, but same thing, you know, this is the materialistic thing. This is something to present to people, but I feel that internally. I already feel that belt wrapped around my waist, but it's about what it represents, you know, the work it took to get here. and like who I had to beat to get it. That's what I'm chasing, greatness at this point, and I actually mean that when I say that. I'm really chasing greatness. I'm taking tough fight after tough fight, and you know, this is a step. So you know, it's something that represents it, but it's internally. It's the glory that I want, the intangibles.
Do you agree with Tim that this is for the #1 spot in the division, given what we've seen from Jamel Charlo?
Absolutely. You know, right now this is definitely, you know, the top 2 in the division going at it. And then once Charlo does, if he really does come back down like he says, then you know, we can establish that and maybe go for undisputed. But right now, this is what I want.
Did you even think about this being a possibility when you'd lost that fight to Jesus Ramos and you were waiting around and considering finding a job? Did you think that that dream was over?
No, because even then, even with the whole job thing, it was a day job, a side job, and there was never any quit. I don't care, you know, what obstacles I've hit, you know, the lowest lows, you know, I'm hitting the highest highs now, but there was never any doubt that I would get here, and I just knew I needed to work, you know, have the right team around me and everything, and just keep working, and I'm proof of that now. I'm here just through hard work.
Incredible momentum that he's had in the last few fights. Do you think that helps to be on that sort of a run?
Yeah, of course momentum helps. What about my momentum? 23 running straight. So it's the same thing. We're both coming on the same type of feeling.
And do you think that you're still on the way up? Do you think you're still improving? And
100%, 100%. I dedicate myself so much. It's quite simple. I put everything into this, every single thing. So, you know, it's all on the line for me.
what Tim Tszyu do we see in this fight? Because we've seen different versions the last couple. Against Carlos Ocampo, this is the room where you had your after party after taking him out in incredible time. Is that the plan?
No, I'm not planning on... I can't underestimate Mendoza, and I can't think of him... I can't disrespect him like that, to say I'm going to take him out in 70 seconds. That's disrespectful to say something like that about someone on this caliber. I'm going for the whole 12 rounds if I have to, but victory by any means. And yeah, that's it.
And do you go into that fight thinking about the power that he possesses and the fact that you can't allow yourself to take clean shots from him?
I don't think about anything he possesses. I just think about myself and what I possess. It's simple. I couldn't care less what he's got. If he's got Hercules arms, so be it, you know. He's got to worry about me, and that's how I see it.
And what does he have to worry about? What is this version of Tim Tszyu?
Just I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Just wait and see, I guess. You know, it's a... I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Do you think he should be worried about the power, having stood there in front of opponents like Jason Rosario and Sebastian Fundora and doing to them what you did? Do you think opponents like Tim should be concerned about that?
It kind of doesn't matter to me what they feel. I've been in there with opponents that they thought I was a joke. I've been in there with opponents that were scared of me. And it's all the same to me. I'm in there to do my work, and I'm worried about me and what I can do and what I possess and everything. So same thing, I'm focused on myself fully.
You watched a lot of Koshizu when you were a kid. Incredible to think that you've come to this side of the world and you're fighting against his son now. Have you allowed yourself to think about all of that?
I mean, of course, you know, it just is what it is, but it's just, you know, that was more, you know, telling my dad, you know, like, see, like, how far I've really taken this and how far I still plan to take it, because it's the same thing. I kept repeating when I fought Fundora for the interim WBC. The dreams don't come true fighting for a belt. The dreams come true winning the belt. I'm not someone that's happy, oh, look, I made it, I fought for a belt. Absolutely not. I'm here to take that belt and bring that belt home with me. And that's exactly what I plan to do. But the fact that, you know, like, went from literally like watching his dad as a kid to now fighting him for a world title, it's just part of the story and just proof of what hard work can get you.
There's a lot of fairy tale elements to what Brian's talking about, not only the fact that he watched your dad, but just the run that he's on and where he was. Do you care about
No,
storylines
man.
around opponents, around
No.
their motivations?
No, I couldn't care less. I respect it, but yeah, it's all just a bunch of gibberish for me.
So you don't think about who's in front of you at all nowadays? You just are you?
I feel like a robot, honestly. I live my life on just on a daily, every day is the same. Sort of changes up, of course, but it's just like an army type lifestyle. And robot from now on. Whoever's in front of me, it's just wipe them. Simple.
Sounds like your dad.
I guess the transition is slowly becoming that way, yeah.
How does that feel, being that person?
I don't know. I guess it's more of a. I guess you got to ask the people around me. For me, I feel good.
Do you think he has that?
What?
The mindset that
Again,
you do?
I don't worry. I don't care. He has a different. We have a similar mindset. You know, we're similar in certain ways, but couldn't care less.
Brian, we saw a lot of emotion from you after that Sebastian Fundora fight. In the ring and in the press conference afterwards, where you and everyone else broke down. Tell us about what you were thinking then and what you'd be feeling this time if you won a world title.
It was just the satisfaction of all the work that was put in, you know, to turn everything around, to turn the career around. You know, I had to dig myself out of a hole. You know, it's different, you know, like I made it to about like 18-0 undefeated, but that feeling of, you know, falling and then digging yourself out of that hole when everybody quits on you and your circle becomes even smaller and everything. And I've always been a small circle type of guy, but, you know, it's just truly, you know, like a lot of people become non-believers after that. And it was just that, you know, it was the culmination of, like I keep repeating, hard work, just working hard, killing myself in the gym, sacrificing every day, suffering every day, and all for the goal, you know, just to accomplish that victory. And what you saw was a culmination of that, and that was that emotion.
Seems there's still quite a few non-believers because you are a big underdog again in this fight against Tszyu. Does that surprise you?
No, and then same thing. I'm at the point where I'm enjoying this role. I relish it because it's like I said, you know, the victories are that much sweeter. So we're going, and it doesn't matter, man. I'm probably honestly still, even after a victory like this, I'd probably still be underdog because I want bigger and bigger fights. I'm not out here asking for tune-ups or, you know, hand-me fights or anything like that. I want the biggest and best. So whether I'm underdog or not, you know, it doesn't make a difference. I'm in there for victory.
Do you have any non-believers left, do you think, in America or anywhere else? Do you care?
Couldn't care less. Sorry for the short answers. Couldn't care less.
Are you not trying to make statements anymore? You're just doing what you do?
Well, doing what I do is making statements. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing.
What are we going to see out of you for the rest of this week? Is it going to be the cold version we saw against a Campo? Or...
Oh, you know what? Was I cold in the Campo?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I got bitten by a dog, so I wasn't too happy then. I don't know, I'm just nice and relaxed this time around. I'm enjoying every moment. I'm excited for this opportunity to fight Mendoza, and to be able to take someone out like that, it's going to be a big honor.
Is that because physically, if you could beat a big puncher like him, that would be satisfying to you, or?
No, just because we're the two top dogs in the division. Simple.
And is that what you think, that you stop Brian Mendoza?
I don't think anything. I'm just going to go out there, perform the best I can, and I'll let my fist do the talking. I'm not going to say predictions and what I'm going to do. It's boxing, you know.
But you do think that you land one of those big shots?
Well, I definitely plan on landing some big shots, you know, whether he goes down or not. Like I said, I'm ready for 12 rounds. I'll go 15 if I had to. I'm ready for anything. It's war, and what I can definitely predict is, you know, my hand raised at the end of the night. That's all I can say.
Do you want to go 15?
We won't need 15.
Brian, any words for Tim before we wrap up here? Because you've come across the world to try and take the belt that is now his.
I mean, no, it is what it is. You know, I feel like there's already been an understanding. Everybody wants us, you know, to be talking all this stuff and everything, but I feel like we're both ready for war, and that's what it's going to be, all-out war.
Tim, you got something?
Enjoy your stay. And I hope you enjoy Australia.
I'm loving it, man.
Yeah.
Trying to get a new belt to go home with it.
only on a photo.
We'll see. We'll see.
Staring competition, eh? I'm not into that shit, man. I don't feel like it's a dominance or power type thing, you know. I respect it, but...
Yeah, likewise. Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't have anything else to say, man. I'm just ready to go. I wish it was fight night tonight.
Well, it is fight day on Sunday. You'll see it all on Main Event. Tszyu against Brian Mendoza. I'm Ben Damon. I'll see you at the fights.
Tszyu strutted into 2023 with a reputation. At home, he was a world champion in waiting. But in the US, where opinions carry power and power carries belts, it was a much different story.
He's going to face some really tough guys in this division.
That's exactly what we've seen.
You still got things to learn.
When I beat Harrison...
No, you're not going to be here. That's
when?
why you, that's not going to happen.
Boy, did he prove them wrong. In two breathtaking fights, Tszyu dismantled both his opponents and his critics.
He's looking to stop Tony Harrison and drops him.
His knockout of Tony Harrison was the silencer.
He further legitimized himself as a contender.
His 72-second demolition of Carlos Ocampo, the viral boxing moment of the year that put the world on notice.
And it looks like Tszyu looking to close the show! What a statement made by Tszyu!
Sunday, Tim's back on the Gold Coast, defending his brand new WBO Super Welterweight World Championship against an American who's no stranger to highlight reel knockouts.
Mendoza with the right uppercut!
Brian Mendoza, a never-say-die fighter who clawed his way back from the scrap heap in the most spectacular fashion. In 2021, he lost 2 or 3 fights, and in boxing, that's a career killer. But Mendoza took fights in empty stadiums on short notice and as a raging underdog, punched life back into his world title dreams. And when he knocked out the undefeated 6'6" Sebastian Fundora, better known as the Towering Inferno, it was David conquering Goliath.
Oh! He just rocked! Fundora's down! Timber!
Like Tszyu, a humble champion, a relentless worker with elite power. This is big-time boxing right here in Australia. Tszyu versus Mendoza, the soul taker and the giant killer for the WBO Super Welterweight Championship of the world. Sunday, live and exclusive on Main Event.